Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
The following is independently produced programming. The views and opinions expressed are those of the producers and do not reflect the views and opinions of Falls Area Community Television, our staff, or board of directors.
Secrets in the shadows, lost and found. Truth in every echo, loud and clear. Keep on with the long road, no more fear. In the halls of power, whispers grow. Every secret cracked beneath the undertone. Honor stories hidden in the glass. On this long road, in the truth we trust.
Hello, welcome to The Long Road. I'm your host, Chris Roberts. And today, we're going to talk about leadership, or really the lack of leadership in the Democratic Party. And when you look at the last couple elections and everything, the Democrats haven't been doing too well. And part of one of the themes is, what has the Democratic Party done in the last 40 years? And when I was looking over it, I'm going, wait a minute. Give me something that the Democratic Party has done in the last 40 years that really stands out to benefit the American people. You know, the 80% of American people that work, bust their hump, do what they can to be able to have a secure household, have enough food, be able to get Medicare when they needed it, send their kids to a trade school or send their kids to a college. What have the Democrats done? And you're just sitting there scratching it in the head. And I'm going, wait a minute. Hey, Mr. Roberts, you were a Democrat and you were in the State House for 12 years. Even when the Democrats had a super majority, what did you do? What was accomplished? And I go, a bunch of stuff wasn't accomplished. In matter of fact, a bunch of the stuff, the Democratic ideals, education, support for the people, things went backwards. You know, and I kept saying to myself, you know, I can't stay a Democrat anymore. Why? Because a total of lack of leadership, selfishness, a small collective, and hypocrisy, where we were told, this is the way you're gonna vote. Don't even look about it. We're telling you how to vote. We'll give you a handout. We'll tell you to vote. Press the green button on this one, press the red button on that. Also, we'll have people up front. One will have a red handkerchief and one will have a right handkerchief, a green handkerchief. When it gets ready to vote, the individual that has the appropriate handkerchief will stand up, face the body, and pull out the handkerchief. 400 independent state reps representing the state of New Hampshire, all as citizens. We're like the third largest legislative body in the world, and wasn't very many independent-minded people there worrying, saying, I was elected for the people to help the people, not to make the people rich, but make sure the people weren't screwed over. For people to work, they know they can get a job without being shortchanged. They know that children can go get a quality education. And so I came up with the thing that I saw, and it really kind of hit me, and it hit me hard. And this individual is a Democrat, but he happens to be black, but he's a conservative Democrat. You know, he's had some troubles and possible ethical problems when he from the state of Ohio, going back and forth. And this is what he stated. The Democrats have not been fixing America's problems. They have been redefining the problem. And I go, oh, wait a minute. If I have a problem, and so I redefine the problem, does the problem go away? Or the old problem goes away, but we have created a new problem, but before we discuss the new problem, I can talk about how I eliminated the former problem. And I kept wondering, is that true? By refining them, hiding them, or pretending that they no longer exist. Okay? The Democrats have stated, we want to improve public education. But over the last 40 years, the quality of public education is gone way down. And I stated earlier on an earlier show, the amount of Americans who are illiterate, quote unquote, okay, the amount of Americans that cannot read above a 6th grade level. Because to be literate, the ability to read and write, you got to be able to do it at 6th grade level. Well, wait a minute. 6th grade level, if you can only read at a 6th grade level, how can you graduate from high school? How can you graduate from high school and go on to college? He says they lowered the graduation standards. Wait a minute. Massachusetts had one of the best education outcomes in the world. But last year, teachers union and other ones got together, put it on the ballot, and they said, well, if people don't pass the MCAT test, we're now going to give them a plum. They no longer have to pass the test. You know who they're screwing over? Not the kids up at top, not the kids whose parents give them education opportunities and all this. The kids at the back, on the bottom, who may not be putting in the effort in all them, they go, hey, I don't have to put any more effort in, because if I spend my 12 years here, I'm going to get a high school diploma. But what about the kids who are right there in the middle and they get to improve themselves because they know if they don't try harder, they're not going to pass. Their parents are not going to push them because, you know, the kids that may be 5 or 6 points off, so they have to bust their hump, they have to study more, they have to get help. But they earn those 5 or 6 points so they can pass the test and they can get a feeling of self-confidence because they did it. New York, Virginia, okay? Well, if you want to go to certain schools, whether it's a trade school, the top-notch schools, Boston Latin, some of the schools out in California, here in New York City, Here is the standard. Fairfax, Virginia. The standard is if you get the standard, you're in. If you don't get the standard, you're not in. If it takes 90 to get in, 89.95 means you're not getting in. But you know what? We have too many Asian kids. When we talk about Asian kids, we're talking about Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Indian kids whose parents emphasize education over and over. Their parents who may be engineers or doctors up there, they're demanding their kids make it. And so they work and they work and they work. Okay? But when we talk about Asians, there are a lot of different Asian countries around the world. There are a lot of Pacific Islander countries around the world that the kids don't have the opportunity because we're kind of selective in the United States. We want educated Indians. We want educated Chinese, educated Japanese, educated Koreans to come into our country. We don't want average Japanese person, average Chinese. We want someone that can work in the business and make money. So they get a high standard. Well, now go, hey, Democrats, you run the city of Baltimore, and there's some schools in Baltimore hardly anybody can read. Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, I put valedictorian. Oh, you don't qualify getting into any college because you can't read. So, hey, we're going to make you feel good. You're going to be valedictorian. You're going to graduate with a 4.0. But you can't give a speech because you can't read and write. So the Democrats, why aren't you funding money into inner city schools that have a high population of people of color? No, you don't put better teachers, you don't put better equipment, you don't put better administrators. You lowered the standards and you can say our graduation rate increases. Give you an example. Kenai. We used to have a standard. This is what you got to do to get a high school diploma from Kenai. And if you didn't make it, you had to go to community ed to make up those credits. But we'll go, that isn't very good. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make 3 diplomas. If I remember, I think it's 27, 24, 20. So let's see. 8. So you have the possibility of earning 32 credits in your 4 years at Kenai. Under the new standard, all you have to do is get 20 credits and you can get a diploma. You want to know what the kids from Kenai think about the 20 credit diploma? You know what they say about the original diploma? They'll go, I want to get a real diploma. Okay? But the adults It's like, no, that's too tough. A lot of people can't make it. So this is what we're going to do. Academic rigor. How can half the kids at Keene High, I remember a few years back, the GPA of the graduating class was 2.98. 2.98, a B average. If you have a graduating class at a B average, that says they were much more capable of learning more. As teachers and administrators, we're not supposed to be satisfied with that level. If we have a group of kids, so if the standard is 70, and these kids come in, and you as a teacher or administrator, you go, wow, I think these kids can make it up to 85. That's what we're supposed to do. Each class, each year, maybe you may have a good class, you may have a lower class, whatever. The standard stays the same, but if the people are capable, you give them more. If they're not capable, you got to work harder. Okay? I can remember all the books about Macbeth I read. I read Macbeth, The Taming of the Shrew, Merchant of Venice, The Prince by Machiavelli, and I had to write term papers. I've had four of my grandchildren have graduated from high school and never read a book. Never read a complete book. And they wonder why kids can't read at grade level. So what we had was this problem, the lack of academic achievement. So we just redefined it and lowered the standards, and we don't have a problem with academic achievement, and we can say we have a 98% graduation rate. Okay, now I'm in the city of Atlanta, or in the city of Houston, in the city New York, Boston, Newark, New Jersey, East St. Louis. I'm going, crap. These Democrats are talking about education, but look at Chicago. Democrats can't get elected in Chicago unless the teachers union says so. Okay? The standards have gone down. Well, it's going to be pretty tough for people to get jobs with standards are going down. And if you don't have a quality education, hey, there's a strong possibility that AI will make you obsolete. Well, okay, the Democrats talk about, well, you know, this crime rate, inner city crime rate, different things like that. We got to do something to prevent it, to lower this crime rate, or to find a way to see what we can do. Well, San Francisco had to elect a new mayor because, hey, and you had people going into stores, CVS and Walgreens and everything, they had to put bars, cages, lock it all up. Because people would go into the store with a shopping cart and a calculator. Oh, I got $995.42. I'm out of here. I'm below the 1,000. It's not really a crime. And even if you arrest me, I'm below the 1,000. And so I'll be released. And no cash bail. Oh, I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, and I'll do it again. And there were people that were dozens and dozens of times. Wait a minute. Attempted murder? No cash bail. Come on your own. You did this? Bingo. No cash bail. Because cash bail is racist, discriminatory. No. Cash bail is not racist or discriminatory. If you try to kill somebody, if you try to rape somebody, you try to rob somebody, it doesn't matter. That act that you were doing was not discriminatory. That was a major crime. That was a felony. But you go, well, black people, Latino people, people of color, they just don't have enough money to post bail. But you could have solved that problem by not trying to kill somebody or not trying to carjack somebody. That decision that you made was your decision. And if it was your decision to commit a crime, it's not society's responsibility to say, hey, he doesn't have any money and he's black, so yeah, let him go and we'll set a court date. You know what? If they set a court, if I tried to kill somebody and they let me go because there's no bail, and they set a court date 3 or 4 months in advance, chances are I'm not going to be around. So, by changing the rules and going and saying, oh, these things over here are no longer crimes. Yeah, we'll download them to misdemeanors, and some will say they're just a civil offense, no different than a traffic ticket. If you go in and rob $995 worth of stuff, you're going to get a ticket and you're going to pay $100. But wait a minute, in California, you can see people on the street corner selling products they ripped off. You can go to flea markets and things like this at Old Drive selling products that were ripped off. It's a crime. Stealing is a crime. No matter how you define it, it's a crime. Just going over and saying, hey, this is no longer a crime, it statistically lowers your stats, but it increases the rate of the crime. Lowering the standards for education doesn't improve the outcome. It lowers the outcome. Going and saying, well, you know what? We look at the city, so for every 100 kids over there, 8 of them will have to be black, 5 of them will have to be Hispanic. You know what? That doesn't look very good on the black and Hispanic kids who meet the qualifications. They get lumped into the people in the bottom, you know, by association. So their abilities and their hard work gets dropped. Well, the kids that they say, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, or the Indians that lose out, their parents are going to still make sure they don't lose out. They may go to private school, they may get tutors, or they may take courses, or they may go to take college courses at the community college. But what do you do with the kids who weren't qualified to meet the demand and rigor? You have just set them up for failure, or what you do is you give them bogus grades that they didn't earn and give them a false sense of accomplishment. Migrants. Who in the world could justify millions and millions and millions of migrants coming in, migrants, illegal alien, undocumented, whatever, coming in and saying, oh, yeah, we'll take care of them. Look what happened in the state of Massachusetts. Totally overwhelmed. Okay, where did that money come from? That came from the taxpayers. Look at the city of New York, the mayor going, come on in, we're a welcoming. He goes, holy crap, this is gonna cost us billions of dollars. Where's that money coming from? You know what? Hey, we need the state of New York taxpayers to pay the city of New York to take care of the migrants. Oh, we got so many migrants, we're going to send them throughout the state. But wait a minute, you send 25 migrant children to Upper New York. Wait a minute, they don't speak any English, so you got to get an English second language teacher. And then you got to put them in, and say if you're paying $15,000 a kid, your school budget that goes up, say about $400,000. Hey, local taxpayers. So you have people up here, Democratic governors, people in the president's cabinet, the president, come on in. And it's going, well, wait a minute. I'm having a hard time finding a place to live that's not inexpensive. And you're not helping me, but you're helping the migrants come in. And you're using taxpayer money to do it. Some of them are taking jobs. Some of them are taking housing. And you got people making all kinds of money off the migrants. And then if you say anything about migrants, they call you xenophobic. They call you racist. And they call you other names. But there's a difference being want to help somebody than not being asked but forced to fund the consequences. Then finding out that the federal government is sending airplanes overseas to load up, to fly into places around the country and drop off an airplane load of migrants in that community, oftentimes without letting the community know. But that's no big deal. But when the governor of Florida sent like 49 migrants to Martha's Vineyard, that was an extremely big deal. But those where the elite Democrats live. We want to help all the migrants, but we want to help the migrants in your backyard, in your place. Then governor says, hey, why do you take migrants into your home? Wait a minute. Some stranger that I've never met, can't speak my language, and we're kind of like, you know what? Be a good citizen. You should help these and take migrants. Okay. the then Democrat says, don't worry about inflation. It's only minor. You're just worrying about too much. All of a sudden, inflation's 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 7, 8. Now it's like 9.3%. Food prices are going through the window. You know, the price of eggs. You go to some place, you want an egg, you're going to have to pay 50 cents extra for an egg. Just think, so we have low income people, we have veterans, we have disabled people. They fell to the bottom. Wait a minute. Low income people, disabled people, veteran people, they were all Democratic supporters. What happened? Because, okay, you got to remember when it comes to people, we are not all going to be Mother Teresa. We're not all going to be martyrs. It's when I feel that my family has secure housing, my family is going to have food, my family can get to see a doctor without bankrupting me, then I'm going to help other people. No, me, I pay my bills are paid off, so I make donations to different charities and different organizations. Years ago, when I still had bills and everything, I didn't make donations to charity. So the Democrats failed to realize you're telling people that you are not giving that sense of security. You know, you all went to elite schools. You all know the hierarchy needs. You as Democrats didn't show the leadership or didn't show the willingness to take care of Americans' basic needs. Then you go, hey, Democrats, you say free speech, free speech. Then you came after the people. Well, you can't say that. You can't say this. You can't say that. Well, we're adults. If we get hurt by some words, yes. And here's the thing. You can't say this. You can't say that. Hey, if you force me not to say words, or I will be punished or canceled, if I'm a racist, it doesn't stop me from a racist. If I'm a homophobic, it doesn't stop me from a homophobic. If I don't like fat people, it doesn't stop me from not liking fat people. Oh, I think handicapped people are such bang, bang, bang. You can't say this. Well, you know what that means? I don't know who's racist. I don't know who's a homophobic. I don't know who disregards and thinks so less of disabled people. So you as a Democrat, in your desire, quote unquote, to protect me from some harsh words, I lose the ability to disassociate with racists, homophobics, dysphobic, xenophobics, even anti-Semites, okay? Because I don't know. And I get punished to assume someone is racist or bigoted or whatever. in the good old days of free speech, if someone says, oh, Johnny's such a retard, I can go and say, I don't want to be around that person. I don't want to associate that with that person. I don't want people to think I'm like that person. If someone says the N-word, bingo, I'm not going with that person. But now, I can't read a person's mind. That person can be saying some really crude anti-gay words or anti-racial words. But I want to know the ability to know who is a racist. I want to know who is homophobic. I want to know so I don't have to deal with them. And if I do have to deal with them, I want to know what I'm dealing with. But to go and say, you're not allowed to use these words, isn't protecting me, it's damaging me. But the elite Democrats felt that we were incapable of protecting ourselves, so they had to come up, like being a Mount Olympus, and come up with directives sending down to us like lightning bolts, saying how we were supposed to think, how we were supposed to act. And here's another one, the last one. Voter ID. Elections are so important in the United States. What is so hard about showing a picture ID? Democrats can go and say, and I brought this up when I was in the State House, when they were fighting picture ID. Well, you got old people, you got people who don't have driver's license, you got all this. And I says, Democrat organization, go to bring vans to King State College to pick up kids to vote. They go, yeah. And so, wait a minute. You're saying a lot of Democrats don't have ID cards. Yep. And I'm saying, you know, it was going to be about $250,000, which is pretty cheap and thing. You know, for $250,000, you could rent vans, have them drive, go to all these different places and pick up people who do not have a picture ID card and bring them down to DMV for $10, which you could pay, and then you could get a picture ID card for that person so they can have a picture ID card. Then I go, how do you cash a check in the bank if you don't have an ID card? Again, so what happened is the Democrats are shifting. It's a simple ID card. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps. Everything requires an ID card. And the Democrats are saying, well, no picture ID, no picture ID. When the world is, most of the country is saying, yes, picture ID card will make us feel really comfortable that people are not voting who shouldn't be voting. And as we've seen over the last couple elections, we've had both Democrats and Republicans voting when they should not be voting, or maybe even voting twice. Here it is, why the Democrats lost the White House and the future of the party. Here's the thing about people. People want a leader. The first thing they want is a leader. The second thing they want is an even better leader. And the third thing they want is a great, compassionate leader. Well, Trump plays the part of a leader. He doesn't mean he's in a leadership position. He thinks he's a leader. He's doing forceful thunderbolts. Yep, and yep. Okay, show me a Democratic leader. Joe Biden, Pamela Harris, Kamala Harris, Waltz. Hey, you know what, Democratic leader? The governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro. Well, you know, he's a Jew, and we don't know if we want to have a Jewish person on the ballot right now. But hey, he's a good leader. He's a compassionate leader. Okay, Democrats and Al Gore. Oh yeah, he's really exciting. John Kerry. Whew. Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden, a guy who failed twice, once to get caught plagiarizing, and I can't remember the other thing that caused him to drop out. I'm going, oh, those are really, really exciting leaders. I'm going, no. There was nothing in any of those people that inspired people to vote. You anoint Harris as the thing. You don't have a quick convention or see who it's going to be. No, we're going to do Harris and Waltz. Talk about two boring people. Then Waltz is lying about his service, or lying about where he was stationed during the war. Okay, I don't think so. Nothing there. But you know what? When you do Gore, you do John Kerry, you do Hillary Clinton, they all went to, they're part of the elitists. They went to top-notch schools and they looked down on us. They came and says, you're going to vote for us because that's what you're supposed to do and don't question. Well, you know what a great leader does? Go, hey, I want to hear your opinion. And I may take some of your opinions. Maybe you'll come up with a good idea. Maybe I'll modify your opinion, but I will listen to you because I'm a nobody without you. When's the last time you had a Democrat do that? Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he'd been in the Senate and vice president since he's been 29 years old. Yeah, Joe Biden was just supposed to be a fill-in for 4 years and decided so the Democrats can get things going. But Joe Biden got into power and he was refusing to give it up. If the Democrats had had a primary, an open primary, not a bogus primary, they probably would have had a good candidate, and chances are Donald Trump would not have been president right now. See, here's the thing the Democratic Party's been doing since Bill Clinton. Identity politics. And they basically screw the working class. We're going to have identity politics. Identity politics, I have to have so many Jewish votes, so many GBLQ votes, so many black votes, so many Hispanic votes, so many Catholic, so many Protestant. And if I can put those votes, enough of them together to win, I don't care. I will tell each group what they need to hear so they would vote for me. And the Democrats were saying, you know, you're Latino, you're black, African American, you know what, you're gay, you're a lesbian, you're Jewish, so you are Democrats. You're a working person, you work on the assembly line, so you're Democrats. Well, that is totally BS. They were saying, hey, we got it locked in the bag because, hey, no big deal. The less white the American comes, the more Democratic it's going to come. For people who are well educated, going to the best elite schools in the country, they were totally naive. Whoever their marketing person was, they had to have been going to the same school that ran the Bud Light commercial. They just didn't get it. They just did not understand their audience. They took their audience for granted. They failed to create a solid base. Once you get the solid base, you build on it. So the Democrats go and say, we've got the blacks, we've got the Hispanics, we've got all these people locked up. Okay, these people are not going to change. They're always going to vote for us. So let's go. Let's push for transgender rights. Okay? Let's push for DEI. Let's, Black Lives Matter. I'm going, wait a minute. If Black Lives Matter, why ain't you providing a quality education? It's a proven fact. The better the girls are educated, the less unwanted births, and the later they have a baby, and they'll have less babies. Educated people use drugs less than educated people. So if you gave a quality education to blacks, they would be able to get out of the ghetto, move up in society. But no, we're talking about the people up here supporting Black Lives Matters while the people who are running Black Lives Matters are making a lot of money. Okay? So they started going on fringe. DEI. Wait a minute. DEI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Companies were doing that. Okay? I can be the CEO and I can be the most bigoted, homophobic, racist person there is in the world. But if I keep my mouth shut, no one knows outside of my house. And the only thing the shareholders going is worrying about a profit. And if a black guy or an Hispanic guy or a woman or whatever can make my company a lot of money, I'm going to hire him. I may not invite him to my family barbecue, but I'm going to hire them in the office, and I'm going to make sure HR knows that nothing goes wrong that's going to give us bad PR. But no, school districts, started going DEI. Oh yeah, we're gonna have someone $150,000 to make sure we got DEI. Harvard, these other schools, you don't have to create DEI officers or departments. Hire the best people. You don't have to spend all this time in grade school and in high school saying, we're going to go DEI concept. You know, you don't have to go and say, you know what, Mr. Roberts, society screwed you over. And when I went, I go, and I said it this last week when I was talking to a professor at the college. Yes, my father is black, but the majority of my DNA is not black. Okay? So you're going to say society screwed me over and robbed me of my potential. Well, my mother's white. My 8 brothers are white. My sister is white. I basically grew up in a city of 100,000 that were basically all white. I didn't go see my first black person in school until I was in 7th grade. In my high school class, which started over 700 kids, only had 3 black people. Wait a minute. I'm the only person in my family to go to college. Hey, I get to be a Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel. I got a whole different awards and stuff. I do pretty good. And you're trying to tell me that due to white supremacy, I couldn't make it. I get shortchanged. Oh. So you're telling me my mother, my aunts, and my brothers and my sister are all white supremacists, and they screwed me over, they hindered me. I could have done a heck of a lot better. I was growing up in the projects, and the people in the projects were white, and a bunch of us were escaping because we got a quality education. My best friend became a fire captain in the city over. His mother was an immigrant. When she came to the United States, she couldn't even speak English. So when you go in DEI and white supremacy, you're irritating a lot of people. Yes, my great-great-grandfather Lewis was a white guy, and his lineages come from North Carolina and some plantations. Yes, my great-great-grandmother was a black woman. So chances are my great-great-grandfather was a slave owner and owned them. They moved from Virginia to Kentucky. And they go, hey, Chris, Mr. Roberts, don't you feel violated? Don't this should be happening? And I go, well, guess what? I don't know my grandfather and my great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather and great-great-grandmother's relationship. Okay? But I wouldn't be here right now. So it would be quite stupid of me to go and say, I feel really bad that happened. I wish it wouldn't happen. I wish she may not been in a subordinate role. But I'm here. And I'm married. I'm going to be married for 48 years tomorrow. I got 3 wonderful daughters, 9 great-grandkids, 9 grandkids, and 3 great-grandkids. Without that interaction between Mr. Lewis, none of us would be here. So now you know why people get upset over DEI and accusing white people of white supremacy. So you really gotta be careful. And the Democrat Party goes and says, well, right here, the Democrat Party has become the party of the establishment of the status quo of the institution, which is not the worst thing that they need to defend, but they also need reforming, and not along the lines that the party has been suing, which has basically to believe that the most basic identity of a citizen is group identity based on race, gender, and sexuality. I'm a person, okay? I may happen to be a male mixed race person, okay? I may be a Methodist, but those are adjectives, those are descriptions. I do not want someone up here and say, no, Mr. Roberts, you must fit in this mold. And the Democrats being up here, what happened to all these black people that voted for Trump? What happened for the Latinos that voted? What happened to the gays that voted? Don't they realize how stupid they are? They're voting against their own interest. Are they really voting against their own interest? Maybe they voted for Trump because the Democrat establishment never gave them a candidate to vote for, never gave them somebody who was looking out for their interests, never gave them somebody that saw them as a person, not as a block vote.